Hello and welcome. Has the honeymoon between Trump and Putin come to an end? We all saw Trump's statements before he came to the White House, after he arrived, and even up until a month ago. And I'll tell you why I mention a month, because the timing matters. All of Trump's talk was about how Putin is a friend and that they could understand each other. Before the elections, he kept saying, "I will end this war within 24 hours. Of course, months have passed now, and the war in Ukraine is still ongoing. But all his talk was that he's capable of convincing Putin that Putin is a friend and that peace would prevail between him, Russia, and the world once he takes office. That he'd bring Putin to the negotiating table and the war would come to an end. In Ukraine, and that's why we saw his policies with Zelensky and his meetings with him over the past months. But the honeymoon didn't last long. It quickly turned into both sides staring each other down with tension. So what did Trump do? Why did things heat up? In recent days, we saw Trump calling Putin crazy, saying that Putin deserves punishment and that there must be strict measures taken against Russia. They even started allowing long-range weapons to hit inside Russian territory. It's really escalated. And as a result of Trump's catastrophic statements, whether in his own voice or on Truth Social, which is his personal platform, responses started coming out of Russia. Medvedev, who once held the presidency and switched roles with Putin's deputy, the vice chairman of Russia's Security Council, the second most powerful man in Russia, came out and said, in essence, "No one threatens us." He implied that Trump's words are what could lead to World War III. It's not up to Trump to come and teach us what should or shouldn't be done. If you've forgotten what happened, we'll bring out the old notebooks and remind you. You were the ones who did Hiroshima and Nagasaki. You're the ones who set the world on fire. There's real tension now in the dialogue between Russia and America. So why did it all escalate? The truth is, if things had gone normally, what Trump hoped for, the end of this conflict, could have actually happened. But Trump is being treated like a greedy businessman, and his greed kept growing. He thought that with his sweet-talking and soft approach toward Putin, he could fool him like he fooled others, taking their money and leaving them with nothing, almost stripping them down to their underwear. He thought that kind of talk would work on Putin, but Putin knows the game. Putin's no fool. He's thinking, hey, I stepped back from Syria because I played my part, gave a Saturday, expecting a Sunday in return. If I put it in a simple way, like I'm talking to folks just sitting around chatting, I'm trying to break it down for you. Why did things flare up again between Russia and America? It's because I, Putin, pulled out of Syria. I was the one with the upper hand there. Isn't that what happened? Yeah, that's exactly what happened. So I pulled out of Syria, I gave a Saturday expecting Sunday in return. This for that. So I was waiting for you, Mr. Trump, to make the next move, to start fixing things, to ease the tensions, to sit down with us and force Zelensky to sit at the table so we can end the conflict and settle things. I take a third of Ukraine, you take yours, and we move on. The world calms down. But what actually happened? After Russia pulled out of Syria, things went downhill. Suddenly, Trump's talk was all about Sharia law, normalization, the Abrahamic religion, and we've got no problem with this or that. All the sweet talk, that late-night talk that doesn't make it to the light of day, it all came to an end. Syria? That's done. It's on its own path now. But Ukraine? Its problem still hasn't been solved. Not just that. Imagine I'm Putin now. I see you running after that foolish little guy who ruined his country, Ukraine. You're chasing him all the way to the White House, following him around everywhere. Even during the Pope's visit, you cornered the man. For what? For the rare minerals in Ukraine? Come on. Those rare minerals in Ukraine? They're supposed to belong to Ukraine? No way. I, as Putin, see Ukraine as part of us. Ukraine is part of Greater Russia, the mighty imperial state. Who are you to step into a land that once belonged to the Tsars? Ukraine is where the roots of Russia actually began. So you go ahead and stick your nose where it doesn't belong, with no shame whatsoever, and force the man into a deal just so you can snatch half of Ukraine's strategic minerals. Did you pressure him, or didn't you? You did. You pressured Zelensky, despite all his attempts to back out, while trying to paint him as some kind of false hero. And in the end, what happened? He gave in. They signed off on those rare minerals in Ukraine. Should that make me happy? Not at all. It actually upsets me, especially because some of those rare minerals are in areas I control. So you're feeding me sweet talk, acting like we're allies, while in reality, you're stabbing me in the back. You're pulling me down, just so you can walk away with everything you want. Classic wheeling and dealing, the merchant's game. How do I walk away with a deal without giving anything in return? That's the mindset. That's why Putin didn't stop. Hey, didn't I pause the war at some point? Didn't I try to de-escalate? We said, let's calm things down. Let's go to the negotiation table in Turkey. And we did. We actually went and held talks in Turkey. Then you go behind my back, snatch up Ukraine's mineral wealth, and still come back talking about weapons. And now, on your return from the Gulf, you're suddenly talking about the 5. From barely 1 out of 10 trillion, he was almost gone. It was like a dying man's breath. You all saw what happened when he started imposing sanctions on China, Canada, Mexico, and Europe. Everything collapsed on him. He lived through some dark, miserable days until things finally turned around. The man came back to life. He returned to America after his trip to the Arab region. Revived, recharged, full of swagger, like Samson reborn. I'm back with 5 trillion, he said, and he's pushing that up to 7 trillion in just days. From nearly 0 to 5, and now 7 trillion. The auction is wide open, and the floodgates have been unleashed. It's like he has a blank check. Power, energy, confidence. The balloon is pumped up and rising fast. That's why he's getting cocky. His tone is changing. His speeches are louder and bolder. And guess what? He even cracked BRICS. He managed to get in with a country like India, the rebellious partner. We always talked about, remember the so-called rebellious partner? Well, now you see it. China is out here publicly claiming that India is threatening to exit BRICS. Haven't we been telling you this for years? And now it's happening. BRICS is cracking. He shook the whole alliance, like pulling a chair out from under them. BRICS is unstable now. As for the Middle East, it's practically in his pocket, which means I'm free now. I've cleared the schedule just for you, Mr. Putin. I'm coming for you, especially after securing access to Ukraine's minerals through that big mineral agreement. That's why Putin didn't stay quiet. Putin's now in do-or-die mode. It's me against my enemies. That's why tensions are flaming hot between Russia and the US right now. Putin's looking at him like, do you really think I'm that stupid? You think you can outplay me? You can try fooling someone else. But me? I'm the Caesar. You think someone's speaking on behalf of Putin? No, I'm speaking as Putin. I'm inside that man's mind. I know how he thinks. And as you can see, our assessments, by God's grace, are proving right. I have nuclear weapons. I have more nuclear warheads than you do. And I've got China standing behind me. Don't forget what I told you before. Russia and China share the same fate. China has been supporting Putin for years. Not out of love for him, but to delay the inevitable war between China and the United States. Because once you finish with Putin, who's next? You're coming straight for China, straight for Taiwan. And that's when the next phase begins. The fire's back, and this time, it's even hotter. China is standing firm as steel beside Putin. You saw it yourself at the last summit, a strategic partnership covering every possible front. And let's not forget North Korea, also lining up behind him. So don't be surprised by Medvedev's statement. This is where you're taking us, Mr. Trump, straight toward World War III. And no, we're not stepping back. If you think you can twist our arm with threats or moves like these, you're wrong. We're not backing down. That's why the situation has exploded. Putin is no longer sitting still. He's now advancing deeper into Ukrainian territory, gaining ground, building leverage. He wants to secure a position of strength. If you think I'm the fool here, then maybe you are. We've said it before. In life, there's no greater foolishness than someone sitting across from you and assuming you're the idiot, treating you like a fool. I'm sorry, like you don't understand a thing. While he, mashallah, thinks he's the smartest guy in the room. That is the true definition of stupidity. And when you face someone like that, just play along. Pretend you're clueless. Let him talk. Let him empty it all out. That's exactly how Trump is dealing with Putin. And with Putin's sharp cunning, he's letting him. So what did Putin do? I mean, seriously, you do all this and still expect me to sit with you, have a chat, and hand you what you want? No way. I have to hit back too. If I sit still, despite everything you've done, giving dates, bringing in weapons, then I'm the real fool. And now he's being attacked. Drones everywhere. Remember, folks, the assassination attempt? Come on. You really think someone like Zelensky could authorize such a drone strike? Dozens of drones, all heading in the same direction, targeting the very location where Putin was? You think that decision came from him? Or did it come from Washington? Let's be real. Those are the real puppet masters, the ones calling the shots, the ones pulling the strings. Those are the ones behind him. And now what? You wanted to eliminate me too? Because if I'm gone, the whole case disappears, and you get to reclaim everything I took from Ukraine? Fine, and that's why Putin is still moving. He's advancing, pushing deeper into Ukraine, so that when the day comes to sit at the table, we both sit from a position of power. You're making all these moves, pushing forward aggressively, thinking I'm at my weakest. That's exactly why I support Putin's position. Not because I love Putin, not because I see him as some kind of saint or a heavenly figure. No, he's just another political figure, flawed like the rest. But at the very least, he's standing up for his country. He's defending its resources. He's pushing back against corruption. He's resisting the global bullies. And for that, I respect him. At least his people respect him. At least he's preserved every inch of his country's land. In fact, he's even taken some of it back. Other lands that were supposed to be part of his country, of course he must respect that. Not because of love for a person or because I'm impressed. I don't get impressed by anyone, just anyone. And I'm saying this, anyone who stands up to Western hegemony, to American dominance and the arrogance we're seeing. Just look at how Trump talks. I think any sane person with even a grain of emotion, when they see this man talking about us, look at these interviews. Every time he shows up, he says, I brought back $5 trillion from the Middle East. No president in history ever did that. No one could do it. It's way easier. Easier than getting, I don't know, a $120 electricity bill in Washington. I brought it. I got the 5.1 out of the nest just by giving them affection. I gave them love. They were missing love, so I gave them love and affection. We're moving forward with love and affection while Putin took a stand. Now, these developments could actually lead to a third world war. Or maybe not. But still, I just can't imagine that we'd reach World War III. If I'm going to wrap it up by talking about Trump, he talks and talks. I repeat, like El Muallim Hanafi, we're going to bump into Putin, sure, but it's not about war. Just look at what he did with our brothers the Houthis, or our brothers in Yemen. What did he do? He backed off immediately and handed over the license, just like that. He basically said, we're done with you, just don't hit the ships passing through the Red Sea. That was with the Houthis. Full stop. Putin imagines, do you really expect anyone would enter a war with Russia, the nuclear state, and go into a war with China? I mean, entering a war with Russia means we're already in World War III. China is officially involved now, and everything is on the table. the world could literally explode. So let it be what it may. But no, he's not striking because he wants war. He's striking so that in the end, they meet somewhere on the ground, where each side makes some concessions. That's the current situation, and we're following it together. May God protect us all, and you too. My regards. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Akhbar Alamia for more global insights and honest analysis. Turn on notifications so you don't miss any updates, and share this video to spread the truth far and wide. Knowledge is power. Let's empower the world together.